Thank you, Dana. Hi, everybody. I'm very excited about this webinar, Speed Check Ahead. I have a feeling it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. It is all about speed, but it's hopefully going to make you think, which would be good. All right, I'm going to plow ahead. I can't see chat. I can't see Q&A, so I'm just having faith that you're out there. And okay, so this is what we're going to be doing in the webinar. Matching pace, speed, and movements, ours compared to the dogs. We're going to talk about distance, which is very related to speed. Talk about fast dogs, slow dogs, fast dogs with slow handlers. And okay, so I think, can a dog be too fast? And I think a lot of you think that. I think a lot of you are like, oh, my dog's too fast. He misses hides, or he passes by hides, or whatever. And that's probably the first thing I'm going to challenge. I'm going to make my case that when a dog appears too fast, it is because of our mismatched pace, speed, or distance, or all of the above. Or we are looking at the search through the lens of confirmation bias, meaning we think our dog is too fast, and we think that's why our dog passed a hide or two. And what we don't realize is that we're just looking at it through our own beliefs. And the fact is, we don't know if he's too fast or not. We don't know if we had slowed him down, he would have gotten the hide that he blew past. So can a dog be too slow? And we're going to answer that as well. So speed and our distance affects our dogs. A dog's individual temperament also affects their performance. We'll be covering both aspects during this webinar, because when have I ever not included a temperament in anything? So speed is relative. That's the first thing I want to do. So first of all, we're going to see a coyote hunting. This is a fake turkey. Okay, so no one, I'm not going to show you any gore or killing, and nobody dies. Okay, it's fake. So just calm yourselves down. Okay. So this is a coyote hunting. It was in slow motion because it goes very, very fast. And I just want to say, we never say, oh, hope that the coyote slows down while he's hunting. Otherwise, he'll miss the turkey or the rat or whatever. We don't say that because they hunt, as we have faith that they hunt really well, that evolution, had they, I'm freezing it myself. I froze the video. We have faith that evolution would have taken care of the coyotes if they weren't fast enough or efficient enough. And I think in nosework, we should have faith that evolution will also do the same for our dogs. Anyway, this coyote is hunting a snake. So I'm like, should he slow down? I don't think so. It's already impressive to me that he can go after a snake and not get bitten, although it didn't look venomous, but I didn't check that out. And last I looked, the snake was still alive, so nobody cry a tear for the snake right now. So first, what is speed? It's the maximum energy and movement a dog can give dependent on his body type, physical condition, capabilities, orthopedics, and age. So this is a Mastiff doing dog agility. And by body type alone, he's likely not going to be fast. He's a big, heavy, lumbering dog, a breed that was not bred to run fast or change direction fast. And I'm gonna be a little honest here and say he's also overweight, and that is a lot of dog, even lean, to get over jumps and around a course. It's a lot of dog at any weight to scrunch through a tunnel. And so speed is relative. You're not going to get a lot of speed out of a Mastiff on a good day, although I bet you could get more speed out of this dog. She says, never having run a Mastiff in agility. I'm a keyboard warrior. And the crowd loves him, of course. Okay. But here's a bulldog. Go check him out. The crowd goes wild. Good Lord, he's fast. And he's really fast,
Got that backside that time.
but he can't corner. Like, he has too much forward impulsion, so he doesn't corner as fast as a border collie. But look, yeah, he's fierce.
This out of a bulldog tonight.
The announcer goes, no one expected this out of a bulldog tonight. So, like, he defies the odds. He's a very fast bulldog. He's lean, very moderate. So fast is really defined by 100% uninterrupted focus, moving as fast as the dog moves in an off-leash open access, in the rest of his life. Like, if your dog only trots around the house because he's big or slow or old or arthritic or all of the above, you can't expect him to work any faster in nose work. Like, they're just simply going to work as fast as they can physically and emotionally work. However, there are things that we can do to help speed. So we're going to talk about that. This is Ida and Hobo, who's 15 years old here. He is fast. He is moving really fast. He's not going to win a summit trial tomorrow, but he's 15 and he's a dachshund and he's doing his very best. And I think that's fantastic. And this is Christina and Hank, and he's 14. This is Deborah and Bert, and he's a Pyrenees. But what I want you to watch here is he is 100% focused. Like, he is searching for odor. He doesn't stop. He doesn't like shake off drool. He doesn't look around. He is 100% focused. He is fast for who he is. And he's big, and I bet he doesn't move around the house much faster than that. I mean, if he galloped through your living room, you would lose furniture. So this is fast to me. This is Wembley, and he's fast too, but he's moving slowly. Why? Because there's a ground hide, and look at all the changes of behavior, seemingly around nothing. He's working off of leaves, but the hide is making him move slow. So he is fast, okay? It's possible that Wembley's a female, and I apologize, Janine, because all of a sudden I just couldn't remember. So, but anyway, we'll see Wembley again. Okay, I've heard nothing from anyone, so I probably got cut off an hour ago, and I'm here giving a webinar to myself. So be it. All right, we're going to talk fast dogs first. Thank you for the emojis. If they're too fast, do they miss hides? If they're too fast, do they pass hides? This is the prevailing belief. And damn it, I'm here to question that. I don't think that you can be too fast and that this happens, and I'll make my case. First of all, fast dogs have ample time to return to thresholds and other early search areas. So all this fear we have, well, if they blow past a threshold, we won't have time to get back. Well, if they're a fast dog, you absolutely will have time. Not in every search, but if the search is so big that the dog actually doesn't have time to get back, then by holding him at the threshold, you're likely to have missed a whole other area in those 20 seconds that may have been better served because you let your dog search there. So I don't believe in that. If we slow them down in fear of them passing or missing hides, they might not have time to get back to the threshold because we've been slowing them down. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you have a fast dog and you're worried they're blowing past thresholds, they will not have time to get back to thresholds because we're slowing them down. So that's my first argument. I want to propose that being too fast is an illusion created by mismatches in speed, distance, and movement. Okay, I'm going to make my case. Speed, by the way, is directly related to the distance between dog and handler. And distance is dictated by an environment, but also our distance from our dogs influences their speed as well. Distance is like an accordion, and Dana Zinn and I have this in the book, and it goes in and out. It's not constant. So there'll be less distance between you and your dog in cluttered areas. And as Laurel said, like more changes of behavior, more change points, as she talked about. You'll have more distance from your dog in open areas. In all likelihood, not just because they're going faster, but just because you can spread out a little bit more, there's less likely to be quick changes. If you have a slower dog, if you're the same distance that somebody with a fast dog is away from their dog, you'll likely be dragging the team. And I'll talk about why that is. If you have a cautious or environmental dog, like one of my dogs, I think handling closer to them in general is a way to add support and to let them know you're there for them. So I'm all for handling a little closer than average for cautious or environmental dogs. And every handler should be closer in cluttered environments because you want to be searching with your dog in each tiny region. Okay, I've got a video for you. Dana, do we have any questions?
Not yet. You're
Oh.
good to go.
Thank God. I'm not encouraging you. I want to get through this. Love you. Okay, so, and this is from the laws of dogs and movement in agility. But the closer you are to your dog, the more you have to move and the more robust your movements are. And that adds energy. Okay, so here we have, it's going to be a video of agility. And in this first agility run, this guy is handling his little Sheltie really close, like they're within 3 feet of each other in a lateral way. And this guy is moving. He's pumping his arms. Look at that. He's putting so much energy into it. He has to, because he's really close and he has a very fast dog and he's a fast guy. Look at that. He's like, look how much energy he's putting into the team, and he has to. But it adds a lot of energy to the performance. It's riveting and it's really great. So the next thing you're going to see after this guy goes, I love his little dog, is somebody handling distance in agility. And she's handling sort of a border collie type, maybe a Kelpie. And I want you to see, I'm holding it there for a sec, her movement. She does very little running. She, every once in a while, will take 2 quick steps to like thrust a particular line, but she's handling at a great distance with a dog who's bigger and faster than the Sheltie, and she's moving a lot less because she's much farther away. So there she is, like she just walked backwards. Now she's standing. I froze it there for you. Again, look at him. Look at the amount of energy he's putting in close to his dog. She's walking, stopping, walking, stopping, stopping, walking, stopped, walk. And I froze it there again. And again, look at the amount of energy. Close up, you add more energy. Farther away, you move less. Except, I will tell you that all of your orientation and your movements need to be the same. It's not like if you're at a distance, you don't have to move your shoulders and aim and guide and communicate. So movement and distance is the same. And it's true in nose work. If your dog's at a great distance and you're behind your dog, all your supportive movements are the same. All your orientation to let your dog know that he's doing a great job, they're all the same, whether you're a foot behind him or 20 feet behind. And angle and distance, even when you're in front, matters. There's a guy that's, you'd find everything on YouTube, by the way, but that guy, that guy pretends he's on a cell phone, films himself walking slowly and blocking people at airports. Who makes their YouTube page that way? But I love it. And of course, I watch him all the time. Okay, all the nuances of our movements and body language can enhance, mirror, support our dogs, or it can disrupt, exaggerate, and possibly conflict with our dog's movements. Mismatched pace, speed, stride length, energy, upper body leaning or leaning back, forward and back, timing of our responses to our dog's movement affect our teamwork and will affect their speed. So here is some mismatched pace, speed, and energy. So Chappie's been working fast and I'm not, don't even see me because I'm not even a part of the team yet. And when I appear, my hands are behind my back, I'm leaning back. I look like I'm out taking a smoke break. I didn't match her energy. And so I think she had to work that much harder to work quickly. And I don't think she felt as supported. So that is often what happens when we let our, not in a trial, but in training, when we let our dogs off leash, especially where we know where the hides are. We lean back, we put our hands behind our back because we don't know what to do with our hands. At least I don't when I run off leash. And we just drag the energy back. We're like, okay, dog, you go, put in 100%. I'm just going to be here smoking my joint and walking, whatever. And when it's blind, we're usually much more attentive. And at a trial, we're usually much more edgy. And the other thing is, like, watch what happens to my shoulders and my body weight and my impulsion when I just simply pretend I'm holding a leash. This is something that Dana Z talked about once. And I was like, oh my God, look what happens to everyone when they pretend they're holding a leash. And you'll see it immediately. First of all, is more, look, bing. It makes me feel more connected. And I think it makes Chappie feel like I'm right there for her. It changes the amount of energy that I'm putting into the team. So that can help if you have a slower dog that you wonder why they're not faster. So I'm going to talk a little bit about leg length because it matters, because what matters in our movement in response to our dogs is what their front feet are doing and how many steps their front feet are taking. And nose work is a very larger dog centered sport right now. And I think a lot of us handle as if we have long-legged dogs. And in other words, like, we move when a long-legged dog moves rather than when, let's say, we're running a Papillon or a Dachshund. Well, I'll get to this. I'll just shut up and let the video play. So here's Nog. He's not a small dog, but he has short legs. And so my casual hands back, my long strides are even more mismatched for him. And so here with Chappie, it's not that I'm close that makes this look so ugly. It is that I'm not matching her stopping, starting, slowing down, or moving forward. So it's not the closeness that, sorry, hang on. It's not the closeness that gets you into trouble. It's the mismatch of movement. If we move in response to our dogs, instead of randomly or preemptively, right? Dogs don't feel crowded or that we're in their way. It's we get in their way when we move on our own and we don't move in response to how they're moving or stopping. And that's it in a nutshell. So I'm going to sign off here. And I think that's kind of the most important thing. Not really, but it's how we respond that's more important than how far we are or how fast we are. Now, grant you, if you are close to your dog, and you'll see that when I work Nog in this next video, I'm going to work really close. If you're close to your dog, you have to be more responsive, and it's harder. You have less time to think. The closer you are, the more prompt and immediate your responses to your dog have to be. And I have a thing on, how to do it better, but I'm very close to him right there. There's less than 3 feet, now less than 2 feet between me and Nog. But I'm matching, if you watch his front feet and my feet, I move when he moves, I turn when he turns, as if there was a PVC pipe connecting us. I shut my eyes. I'm going to move as he's moving. I want to let him know he's in charge and that he's guiding us with his amazing nose. And I want to not interrupt him. And I want to say, I am supporting you, in particular because he's a nervous Nelly. This is Mary, and Zippy's an English toy spaniel. He's small. He's fast and small. By the way, I went to England. This was like 20 years ago. And I showed a video, not of this dog, but I showed a video of an English toy spaniel in England. And they all go, what? What's that? And I'm like, it's an English toy spaniel. Like, you guys should know what it is. And they're like, we've never heard of it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's an American breed? Anyway, he's really cute. So the first thing I added this, it has nothing to do with anything except I love it so much and I want to talk about it. So The search area is over that rubber boundary and in the cedar mulch. And what I love about this, and this is a really important point in giving your dogs autonomy and building confidence in dogs who are less confident, is she waits for him to make the first move in. So he doesn't find this scary. He's a brave little guy. But still, like, even being that size, she steps in just as he steps in. She doesn't lead him in and call him in. Most important for cautious dogs. So movement is reinforcing. You heard that from Dorothy Turley, and I couldn't have defined it or said it any better. But moving is reinforcing, no matter the size of the dog. And it doesn't mean you have to take a big giant step. But if your dog's front feet are moving, you should be moving. It's the way to say to them, thank you for searching. So I want to point out here, he took 4 steps, but 3 steps before Mary moved. If this was a Belgian Tervuren who took 3 steps before you moved, it would be more obvious that you were lagging behind. So her steps are beautiful. She's got a short stride that really fits him. So again, this is Dave's dog Bodhi, and let's count her steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the amount of steps it takes, Bodhi covered 4 to 5 feet, where Zipper covered 2 feet, maybe 2 or 3 feet. But that doesn't mean you don't move. But a lot of us don't move because we're thinking distances and not matching energy and movement. And I want to do a whole webinar on tiny, short-legged dogs. Because if you watch his little front feet, and Mary's doing such a good job here of mimicking, and she's fairly close, very appropriate. This is beautiful teamwork. Now, this is, I'm gonna, hang on, I can't find my, well, I can't stop it because my little thing, you won't understand. This is Kathy and Jules. And Jules is a very careful dog. He's not trotting, he's walking. Kathy is close. I love their teamwork. And I love their teamwork because she's matching everything about him. Her orientation is right there. This is Kathy and Nate, who's has a big, fast dog, but look how close she is. And she can be this close and should be, because this room is filled with inner rooms. It's filled with change points, as Laura would say. And her movement is absolutely true to Nate's movement. She stops when he does, so she can be this close. It's not in the way. It's not any of those things. It's just really nice handling. And this closeness is appropriate. Okay, so I used to hear a lot, I'm hearing it less now, but there's no running in nose work. And I think if you can run and it is safe to run, and I will talk about how to make it safer, I think there is running in nose work. No one ever goes to an agility trial and goes, oh, there's no running in agility. No, it's about speed. And you can have a slow dog and you can be a slow handler and you do little things that compensate for your lack of speed. But movement is reinforcing. And so if your dog goes from a walk to a trot, I think we should mirror their energy and a little bit of their joy and enthusiasm by moving faster. And again, I have a whole thing on if you're physically incapable or you're not a fast person or you can't run for whatever reason. So I will get to that, but just patience. So this is Dave and Bodhi again. Bodhi's was very fast. And you might look at this and go, it's too fast. It's all loose and he's going to pass hides and blah, blah, blah. And what I want to say is it isn't too fast. In fact, I love that Dave frolicked when she did. It gives the illusion of being too fast and more loose and maybe inefficient. And I think I spelt that wrong. That would be permanent now. It's right there. But part of it is Dave is running alongside of her instead of being pulled by her. So he's influencing her path and her search. And because he's wide and lateral, so they're both aimed in the same direction instead of Dave getting pulled along by his dog, he's making it harder for Bodhi to stop and take an angle or make a straight line or make a turn, because he's moving the energy of the team forward and fast. So it isn't that Bodhi's too fast. It isn't that Dave shouldn't be running. It's that he's lost orientation. And he's now, it's all loose. It is inefficient because of his position. It's unclear who's leading the team. She goes sideways. He sort of aims in, but he's still oriented ahead of her. And that will give you the illusion, because it does make things less efficient. Here, beautifully in sync, Bodhi's out ahead. Dave's matching her stride and energy. It looks gorgeous. And then up here, Dave is going to go wide. He's going to pass her. And he should have stopped right there when she cut in front of him. I freeze framed it for you. And I saw on my, or I heard on my phone that a text just came in. I'm always worried that it's because I got cut off half an hour ago and there's nobody there. So, you there? Okay. Okay. So that's where Dave should have stopped. But he doesn't. He keeps going and he passes her and then he backs up. And all of that will make it feel loose and too fast. But I don't think it is. So here's some traffic cop movements. And that means come this way. And that's what Dave does here. So he ends up pulling, which loosens everything up. Here they're beautifully in sync. He's matching her pace and speed. If they were a sled dog team, their feet would be together. This is really nice. Again, totally in sync. She left that hide independently. Dorothy Turley would be very happy with that team. Anyway, that was all really nice because he matched her pace, her speed. He didn't preempt. He didn't aim ahead. That's why it looked nice. And it was just as fast as everything else. So this is Kathy and Nate. And I think, again, a lot of you might look at it and go, oh, well, yeah, I think it's too fast and it's not safe. It's not good. She should slow him down. And I'm going to nitpick it. I'm going to show you otherwise. So there they are, leaving a hide. And then he goes, and now they're going. And that may look like he's pulling her and it's unsafe. And that she should slow him down. And I'm going to tell you otherwise. So first thing that happens is, so remember, like Dorothy talked about, movement is reinforcing. So when your dog takes a step to leave a hide, you want to take a step to leave the hide in whatever direction your dog is taking the team. And it doesn't have to be a big step. It should be a big step in this case because Kathy's got a big, fast dog. But watch how far he gets before she takes a step. He gallops and now she moves. And what happens is, because she moved late, she ran out of leash. And she didn't have to run out of leash. She could use a longer leash, but I don't think she does need to. So because she ran out of leash, she's at the end of her leash, and now she's stretched her arm out to try and make more distance to keep up, and her upper body's forward, which looks less safe. It looks like she could be pulled over. But the culprit isn't the speed. The culprit is not starting when Nate started, not moving when he did. And therefore, she got 8 feet away where she didn't have to get 8 feet away. So I'm going to show a different clip of her where she starts a little earlier and her arm isn't all the way stretched out. And you'll see it will look fine. It'll look great, actually. And she'll be leaning back. So again, right there, she starts moving, but she's used up almost all of her leash because she didn't start moving early enough. And she runs out of leash, and then she runs out of arm. Now, in the next one here, they are in sync. She steps out earlier, and she moves more briskly, and she maintains a little extra line so that she never gets quite to the end. And her upper body is leaning back, which makes it safer. So she doesn't look like she's about to go down. looks great. And it is in sync. And you wouldn't go, oh, he's too fast. You'd go like, whoo, he's scorching. And you'd be like, and so is she. They look beautiful teamwork, really beautiful teamwork, I think. Here's the irony. Most fast dogs have handlers who are too fast. It's not that you're too slow. So I want you to watch, this is Sarah and Tracer, who's a very fast border collie. And I think you're going to look and you'll be like, nah, he's too fast. Tracer's too fast, and she should slow him down. And I'm going to prove to you that it's not the cause of what happened here. He didn't blow past hides. So this is a container search, and let's just watch it. You'll hear the judge go, hang on. So they make a complete pass, finding nothing, and she's going to take.
No.
Gets a no.
No.
She gets another no. She thinks she's going to keep going, so she keeps going. I love her attitude, and I've decided that I want to be more like Sarah when I run. So she gets 2 no's, and then the judge has to like get the hook and try and pull her out. And she just goes, okay, and sounds sincerely like, okay, we just got 2 no's and we're going to go out. And I loved it.
No. No, you're done. You're done.
And she goes out. So I know you're thinking, oh, well, the dog's too fast. You got to slow the dog down. This is chaos. And a couple things I want to show you. It isn't till Sarah takes over, and you'll see her, instead of being pulled, Sarah will meet up with Tracer at the shoulder and be so close that when Tracer stops at a box, Sarah keeps going. And when you cross the plane of the dog, you'll almost always get a look back. And thus, most people will call a false alert because it seems like it's an alert. So here they are. This is how they start. She's going to let him have some distance. And again, look at him. He's in the lead. Absolutely in the lead. The other thing I should point out, that part of this is Sarah moves, she has a barefoot running style, toe first instead of heel first, which gives a heavy forward impulsion from the upper body. And I think that's part of what the illusion is, that they're too fast and it's out of control. So Sarah, I'm hoping you're listening. If not, I'll contact you. But because you have a barefoot style run, I think if you lean your upper body back a little bit more, I think that'll help lower energy a little bit and make you feel more in control. So this is all beautiful. She actually slows down when he does. A little bit more slowing down needed there at that corner, but looking good. So it isn't here. It isn't until here where Sarah's the one who says, if we were watching Dana Zinn's video, she would have had this now in the first round in color, and she would have had this round in black and white. Because right now, Sarah's going to say, we need to go around a second time. And now she's parallel, right? Look, it's like running agility. He's parallel, right? Lateral to her instead of her being pulled. So now it's unclear who's leading, and actually Sarah's leading right here. And usually things go to hell in a handbag when this happens. And so there's the first false. And look, because Sarah got really far ahead of him after he stopped. Watch this. He's going to alert right there. Not alert, but he's going to stop for a second. She keeps going, so she gets a look back. None of that happened in the first round. So it's not that they were too fast. It's that they were mismatched. Here is another one of her NW3 searches, 2 hides on containers. And it's a perfect search. Again, looks a little fast. She's pulling. And again, a fast walk instead of a trot for Sarah. Longer strides, upper body leaning back could bring the team down a notch. And also, if your upper body is leaning back, you have you can respond to your dog's change of a quick movement by your upper body first, and then your feet will follow. So it's a way to respond faster. Dana C, are there questions, or is there nobody there?
We're all here. There are
Okay, good.
187 of us, so you're good.
Oh,
Um,
okay, good.
Yes, there are questions.
Great.
All right, let's just do a couple quick ones.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the little dog and being close to the little dog, what happens if the little dog needs to do a 180-degree turn and you're very close to it?
Okay, great question. And it applies whether you have a really big dog or a small dog. People are always really afraid of being too close, especially in a tight area, that if the dog makes a 180, there you are in the way. So here's how it works. If you, and Dana Z always says this really well, if you always back up and get out of the dog's way, your dog will depend on you to get out of the way. But if you empower your dog to move in such a way where he can have faith that he can move you out of the way. So here's the thing, dog and handler. Dog's there, you're very close. Dog makes a 180. Whoop, there you are. And so if you decide to back up and give your dog space, you are deciding which direction your dog should go. So you are then presenting, you're saying, hey, go to my left, right? Because you're coming back here, you're on my left. Go to my left. Where the dog on his own might have said, oh, I need to go to your right, but you didn't back up that way because maybe there's a wall there. It doesn't seem for you that the dog should go that way. So you're taking over the search. And the second thing is, when the dog turns and comes past you, if you pivot and turn with your dog and then take a step as soon as he passes your plane, the dog will learn that he only needs to move and you will go immediately with him and you're not in the way. And I should like do a whole webinar on why you're not in your dog's way and you don't have to back up. And I'm going to get to a whole thing, what backing up means and sidestepping, what it means in mammalian language. So next question, Dana.
Back to the small dog, do you recommend a shorter leash to help match movement better, or can you use a longer leash?
You use whatever leash you need that would afford you the distance you need if your dog's moving fast in an open area. And the more leash you have, just the better you need to be at gathering it up and holding the excess. And so that's a very personal choice. I work on a 10-foot leash. I've been working Nog on 8 feet. And part of it is he has shorter leg strides, so I can keep up a little easier than with Chappie. I tend to be closer to him because he lacks confidence. But I'm probably going to move to a 10-foot leash with him, I'm guessing, when he's more confident. But that's my comfort. That's not your comfort. I think Dana runs on an 8-foot leash. So I just think the leash length is up to you. The more leash you have, the longer the line, the better you have to be at gathering it and holding excess if you're going to be close, and which is a skill. Carolyn Barney's doing that tomorrow, talking about leash, and we should all be there for that because she's great. But it's also really important. Leash is our end of the bargain. Everyone's like, it's a team sport, you know, we got to be in there. Well, yeah, and leash is our part. So anyway, and one more question.
Okay, there's so many here.
Oh.
Can you explain the difference in the last video between when he stopped and turned at no odor versus when he turned at odor? She seemed to pass by both times.
Yes. Who asked that question? Because it's true. And that's a really good observation. So that the reason one was a false alert and one wasn't is because he was leading up to that point. So things are less murky. So here, are you guys seeing the video? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So this is one where this isn't blank. There's two hides and she found them both. And so she passes him just like before, but odor is clear to him and there is odor. She didn't start this. She didn't say, come on, we're going to go around again, or I need you to search this whole thing the other direction. So it was his search from the start. There was clarity there. And so when he responded to odor, she had more leeway to make some handling and movement and speed mistakes, which she did. She made those mistakes in both. Sarah, I'm not criticizing you, but it's if you clean that up, especially with this fast dog, you'll clean up at your trials. But it's important for all of us. So that was a great question. And the answer lies in what led up to it, which is a dog-led search is more clear than a handler-led search.
Okay, the last question is, do you know if the first search was a blank? Was it a blank
It
search?
was. This one,
Was,
the first,
yeah.
yes, this was blank. So
Okay.
she got two, and Tracer called it a blank, but who the hell would have the confidence to say on that first pass with the dog moving so fast, you'd have to have a lot of chutzpah to go finish. But if this is your dog, it would be an insult to do anything but. Like, this dog is pretty good. So he's the one who called it clear. And if you're going to go around again, make sure it's Tracer's idea to keep going. Don't start the team by right here. Hang on. No, sorry, I couldn't get there. But she passed him and led him to the start of the boxes all over again. Let's move forward. I'll take questions again in a bit. And any burning questions, I will be at the virtual nosework camp page, and I will answer everything and anything that comes my way. Okay, influencing the speed of your fast dog. If you take longer strides as opposed to shorter trotting steps, the shorter strides will lend a more rushed feel. This is in general, it's not true for everyone. Leaning your upper body back a little bit brings some of the energy down. And if you're on leash and keep your arms in, it'll keep things a little safer. Increase the distance from your dog in open areas, not in cluttered areas. Again, a fast, long-strided walk instead of trotting on your part can make the energy just a tiny bit lower. Make sure that anything you're trying doesn't actually increase frustration, which it can. Safety measures for speedy or strong dogs. 2 hands on the leash. Okay, so you can be ready to reel it in and let out slack. And you've got 2 hands and yeah, one, lean your upper body back, counterbalance. The hand that's closest to your body should be really close to your midsection. That's your center of gravity. And if you hold it close to you, you're not as imbalanced as when your hands are stretched out in front of you. That's when you look like you could topple over. So it's much safer to have at least one hand close to your belly, the other hand in front, and then get ready to move them. Okay. So that's that. I'll take that. I'm not going to read the whole thing. So this is my secret word. The secret word is one of my favorite plants, the Hoya. And this is the flower of the Hoya. And I think I said this to Diana Santos once. I think she was asking what would be a good house plant if she doesn't have a lot of sunlight. So the Hoya is low light, grows beautifully. The flower is fantastic. But the best thing about this particular Hoya is that it has the word pubic in its Latin name. So it's a Hoya pubicalis. That is your secret word, Hoya pubicalis. Okay, how about fast dog, slow handler? So orientation, that's what you do with your shoulders and your hips and your eyes and head, trumps everything else. If you can't keep up with the speed, if you can't run, none of that matters as much as orienting to your dog. okay? And we can almost all do that. So, are you all seeing this black screen with the words? Because I'm going to show a video, yeah?
Yes, we're good.
Thank you. Good. Have faith. You don't have to be fast. This is Linda and Darcy. And Darcy moves briskly. Linda can't move that briskly, but Darcy is a happy, non-frustrated worker. And the reason is Linda has great orientation and always looks involved. So she's farther away in an off-leash search, but she's always aimed right at Darcy. The teamwork is beautiful. And that's because what matters is where Linda is aiming and whether she is attentive and focused. And also, our dogs know when we're trying. I mean, most of us aren't fast enough for a fast dog. This is Jen and Quinn. They were in my group at Colorado Camp, which you should sign up for because it's really fun. Beautiful teamwork. And Quinn is much faster than Jen, and their teamwork is just lovely. Quinn is not, hang on, oops. Quinn is not frustrated. Quinn's not like, oh, I want a better handler. They're beautiful together. And that's because Jen is 100% focused and attentive and has perfect orientation. So my sister and I grew up in the 60s and in the 60s and early 70s. And there was a show on TV called Hazel. And Hazel was a maid that worked for the Baxters. But my sister and I used to always imitate Hazel. And so Hazel leaned forward and pumped her arms whenever she moved. And she was almost never running. She was almost always just moving fast, upper body forward, pumping her arms. She just gave the illusion of hurrying. That would be, if she were working a dog, that would have been more than enough. There she goes. Look, she's walking, but she looks like she's hurrying. Mr. B. My sister and I used to imitate her all the time. Slow dogs. And who are they? Who's a slow dog? And why are they? Is it size? Is it leg length? Is it speed? Is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it the handler? Is it anything that needs to be fixed? And so I don't think it's always a flaw. And I think, again, like looking at working a Great Pyrenees or a 15-year-old dachshund or a 14-year-old little Chihuahua mix, speed is relative. What you want to ask yourself is, like, if my dog moves so much faster at home, indoors, and like on hikes, then I want to say, why is my dog not moving faster during a search? Why is he not feeling free physically or emotionally? And is he too heavy? Like, that will slow a dog down and give them less energy. A dog who is cautious or worried or nervous will not be fast. And that is something we want to work on, right? We do want to build their confidence. I mean, nose work itself does it, but it's also things that we can work on that would help. So let's look. Most slower dogs, most, not all, are more emotionally sensitive than average. And emotionally sensitive is they are like, if you burst through a doorway first, they're like, please go right ahead. I couldn't possibly burst through the doorway before you. They're more polite. They give you your decisions much more readily than dogs who are faster or bolder or pushier. Most slower dogs, who are not slow because of physical conditions, are inward stressors. And an inward stressor is like they smoke, they get nervous. A lot of them hold it in. A lot of them will get slower and slower. Whereas outward stressors get more hysterical, they get angry, and in their anger, they work faster and they blow you off and they're like, get out of my way, stop taking over. And so most dogs who we would call slow, who aren't slow because of a physical or age condition, are more sensitive and they stress inwardly. which is good news because we can do things to reduce their stress. The biggest is that the advice that will work for naturally drivey dogs will not work on our more sensitive dogs. And the advice that's perfectly benign for dogs who are like drivey and outward stressors will slow other dogs down. Advice like cover your search area, meaning at a certain point in a trial, take over and get your dog around the search area or to areas that he hasn't been. Get your dog into corners. Anytime where the language is such that you take your dog somewhere, the sensitive dog will not be able to take the search back as readily. So they'll say to you, okay, you took me into this corner. That was a great idea. I love you so much. You always have these great ideas. Go ahead. You keep searching in the corner. I'm just gonna wait around here for a bit till I don't know what. Make sure he finishes that row of containers. Implies that he should finish the row of containers, but for a sensitive dog, they feel like you're challenging their self-worth. I'm part of this research on like dementia and stuff. So I have to take all these mental tests and stuff. And oh my God, it takes so little for me to panic. Like I took a automated phone memory test. And so it's the whole thing. It starts out, I am going to read you a set of words and I want you to listen and read them back. So it's a string of like 15 words. And I'm like, huh, okay, memorizing. And then I list them back. And then the automated voice goes, I am going to read the words for you again, and I want you to repeat them back. And I'm like, oh my God, I must have done such a bad job. They want to know, like, how could she not remember, so few words, whatever. And we went over it, I think 5 or 6 times, by which I'm like, oh my God, they're probably ready to call an ambulance to take me to a memory care center. So I assume that it's me and I've done something wrong. And I think a lot of slower dogs get slow because they're assuming that if you think the team should finish the row of containers, that they have done something inadequate or wrong. Make him search the threshold while he's there because you may not have time to get back. And the paradox there is if you have a sensitive dog and you hold him at the threshold, you're decreasing, you're taking over. And a lot of the dogs won't give you speed back. They won't say, okay, well, you held me just there at the threshold. I know that's what we do, but now I can lead the team. And a lot of dogs, especially over time, the dogs who become slower aren't able to fight back and to say, I'll take this search back, or we're not good at giving them back. In training, when you know where the hides are, or your instructor just hold them there to help them find that last hide. That can work for very drivey dogs who are just like, yeah, whatever, you're standing there, you're aiming at the hide, I'm going to do whatever. But for a lot of our sensitive dogs, they're like, well, if you're not, I need you to aim at a hide. That will help me when I'm feeling confused. Things don't work for them as well. They just don't have the power to take back the search. And over time, usually by the time you're midway through elite, they've gotten so slow that you're wondering if you should even do nose work. So handling choices that can inadvertently slow down a sensitive dog. Pulling them, meaning you're ahead of their shoulder plane instead of being pulled. And that's a big one because there's a snowball effect. Your dog gets slower, so you're worried you're not going to make time. So you start pulling and getting a little ahead of the dog. It's not literally dragging them. All you have to do is step in front of their shoulder, and you are now in charge of the search. And so the dog feels pulled, and in scent work, generally, they slow down. Bending is when you take the outside of a curve. You're aiming and sort of pushing your dog out of space. I will show you all this, so don't panic if I'm not making any sense. If you don't speed up to match your dog speeding up, and by that I mean whether you're Hazel or you're just doing your upper body because you can't run, it doesn't matter. If you're not responding to your dog's speed, you're going to drag him down. and then too much distance from your dog, you are essentially an anchor, and the dog will naturally curl back toward a handler. So if you're stationary and you're asking your dog to go out there, they have to fight and work harder to be further away from you if you're not moving in sync. So let's look at some videos. So we met Traffic Guy when we were looking at Dave and Bodie, but what I'll tell you here is his body language, because he can't talk to traffic, so he's using body language. And we understand this is mammals. Our dogs understand it. It works with dogs. I had a conversation nonverbal with a sparrow, and he and I communicated with the exact same body language. So full frontal means stop. Now he did an extra dance. Backing up is an invitation or a draw. Backing up, come this way, come to me, my little pretties, come to me. So here I am working Piper, my PVC dog. So if you imagine I've got a dog at the end of the leash, all I'm doing is I have a rigid leash, which will show you what my movement has, what effect it has on my dog. So if I'm being pulled, my dog's ahead of me. If I'm backing up, can you see that I'm pulling my dog? That's what it means just innately, mammalian body language. And it doesn't, like, we might think, oh, I'm giving him more space to work that hide, or I'm giving him air, or I want to make sure he feels like he has room to move. And it's like, unless you specifically in training sessions outside of nose work taught him that when you back up, it means stay there, and use it consistently for that reason, it means come to me. And the dog, if he stays, he'll have to work really hard to stay there. So again, watch the police officer, watch his shoulders. He opens up his outside shoulder. So he's gesturing, and it means come this way. It's a suggestion. It's an invitation. So your shoulders move away from the target and aim at where you want them to go. And you can see with PVC, I am being pulled. I am second in command. My dog is leading the search, which he should be. He's got the nose. And once I do that with my shoulders, I am now pulling. That's what I talk about. Pulling a slower dog will only make a slower dog slower, and it will slow down. So here again, come right this way. Opens up his shoulders. Opens up his shoulders. Now this is an interesting one. What we've got here is an intersecting path. And so it's really powerful. So he's behind the golf cart or whatever it is, this electric thing, but he'll stop it just by intersecting. And so if we have a path that intersects or is going to intersect with our dog, think containers usually, or during vehicles, it's really demotivating to a dog, and it will slow them down. And again, if you're like me in the automated dementia test, I will feel like I've done something wrong, and it'll be hard for me to gain the confidence to list drum, curtain, coffee, school, parent. No, those are all the words. I remember them now. So getting pulled, pulling. It's all in the shoulders, okay? And if you think about having a rigid leash, you'll move the dog in the way that mammalian body language tells you to. So when we open our shoulders and shift our shoulder orientation from aiming at the dog to where we want our dog to go, think of the traffic cop, this will cause a sensitive dog, to slow down, and over time, to slow down more, and over time, may not ever want to take the search and lead. This is my friend's dog, Newt, and he is, I only borrow him every once in a while. We got our ORTs. This was a mock trial. So he's pretty fearful off his property, and he doesn't get off his property except to go hiking. And so this was a long drive. He met a lot of strangers. It was very hard for him. So he's not moving fast. It's not because he's not a fast dog. It's because he's inhibited and worried about a lot of life. And I also made him a little slower here, and you'll see I open up ahead of him and I take over. And you can see he actually says and looks at me right there. I get a huge handler focus, and he stops searching. He's like, what, Aunt Sue? Like, what did you want me to do? And I'm saying, I want you to search the containers here and not just go down the parking lot. I mean, if you were at Jean's wonderful talk, oh, look at all that water and puddling. Like, it's all pooling and trapping. I should let him search where he needs to search. But instead, I'm like, well, he should follow the containers. And by taking over, it's hard to get him to search independently. It was the wrong move to make for this very sensitive dog. And I didn't do him any favors. I was horrified that I did this. This is Kathy and Jules again. And so they had a beautiful dog-led search. He went to the first hide. After they got the first hide, Kathy did what many of us, myself included, find ourselves doing at a trial, which is we then start taking over. It's like we usually let them find the first hide, maybe the second hide leading the way, and then somehow we get it in our head, we've got to help them be more efficient and faster. And so she opens up her shoulders. And she also, like my friend's dog Newt, when she shows Jules where to go here, she says, I've got a table for you in the corner at the threshold. And Jules says, oh, well, what a great idea. These are a set of freeze frames. And I would say that Jules, to me, looks like a sensitive soul. And he seems very polite. And so every time Kathy does what anyone with a really, like, as Wendy would say, urgent, I love that word, like a more urgent dog, you could get away with it. I don't think you need to, and I wouldn't, but it's not going to slow your dog down. But Kathy's shoulders are aimed, they're like healing on the right side, as opposed to Jules is leading her. And for a sensitive dog like Jules, I think it's going to slow him down. So here, orientation of shoulders are ahead and parallel, same thing here. If you look where Kathy's facing, she's facing the wheelbarrow, and she has Jules at her side, so he is not leading. Even if he's slightly ahead of her, she's suggesting, like the traffic cop, come this way. So this was really great. This is Linda, and she sent 2 of her dogs in. She has 2 shepherds. One is named Grit, and he's a male, and the other one is Gala, and she's a female. And Grit is fast and drivey. He's an outward stressor. So if she does anything he doesn't like, he just gets, a little more, he's like, I can do this anyway, I'll show you. But Gala, if she does the same things with Gala's like, oh my God, I need a cigarette break, and I need to call my therapist, and I'm just going to stand here for a second. And it was amazing. It was really great. I really thanked Linda for it. So right there is bending. And I want you to, so bending is human on the outside of the curve. It's very inhibiting and demotivating. And you can see it pisses Grit off, and he shoots away from her and says, oh, mother, I've got this. I would have gone that way anyway. But this is Gala. It's the same move. And she's like, stops and smokes a cigarette, and oh my God, she's not searching. She can't even go back to searching. This is a set of freeze frames for another move that we do all the time that is fine for outward stressing, drivey dogs, and will slow down the sensitive dogs. And that is, and you see it in containers more than anywhere else, is where they stop at a box and they're alerting, and we pass them by and either go back and forth or doubt them. So these are freeze frames. So this is Grit. So in order for Grit to prove to Linda that he's right at this box, he has to stay there. And you'll see him lean back and hunker down, right? Like right there. He's like, damn it, Linda, I'm telling you, it's here. He doesn't move. So she can pass him and everything, but watch the same move with Gala. So there's, it's there. And look at her. And so it makes her sniff dog odor, which is a stress response. Then she looks at Linda, and now she's confused. She's like, ugh. I thought nose work was I'll go around and I'm looking for source, and I found source. And usually she comes in and feeds me, but right now she's not. I have no idea what's happening. And it's really hard on the sensitive dogs. And it's clearly not Linda. She has 2 dogs who behave very differently. So there's a lot of different dog here. And so what works for one dog, and I'm not even saying it's good advice, it still takes a toll. It just makes the drive-ear dogs a little angry. And the sensitive dogs, they don't take it back. So this, and it comes from, I think, a lot of detection. This is a professional detection dog, and this is done all the time. It's a high drive dog. He's indicating where the bomb or the drugs are, and she's proofing and testing him. And the dog's like, I got this. Just throw the ball. This is not a problem for me. And part of it is these dogs, they're born and bred and raised to be outward stressors, to not slow down, to take it back, to get pissed if you do anything unclear. And the other thing for slow dogs is, so like this is Janine and Wembley, and Wembley's not a slow dog, but you'll see, you can see Janine's shadow, and Wembley is going to move from a trot and then move faster. So here, he is a he. Okay, good. I confirmed it. Finally saw the clarifying penis. So he sped up there, and because Janine didn't, the distance increased. And the distance increased, that makes it harder for Wembley to keep searching, to search out there. Wembley, I don't think Wembley is an outward stressor. I think Wembley is a sensitive guy, and I think he'll stress inwardly. And I think over time, some of these handling decisions and the lack of mimicking a lot of his movements are going to slow him down. And he's not a slow dog. And he's one of those that doesn't have to be slow. Dana, any quick questions?
If you answer them quickly, we can do a few.
Okay, I will.
Give it a try.
I'm going to do it.
So if you have a demotivated dog due to poor handling, can you change it in nose work, or is nose work going over? Okay, there you go.
I missed the last part of the question, but I'm sure.
Or is nose work trialing over?
Oh my God, that's why I'm here. That's why we're all here. Oh my God, if you did agility, day one, you'd be like, I got to work on my handling. And day 7,000 million, when you're just retiring your dog, you'd be still working on your handling. You don't give up. That's the whole purpose of a dog sport. It's the whole reason we get into nose work. And I know our dogs know that we're trying to learn. They don't need us to be perfect. They just need us to try to listen. Dog sports are, the beauty of them is that it's where we give them the fun and access, in this case, to their instincts, but we do it so that we learn to communicate more and better. And I believe that dogs know that we're trying. You do not have to be perfect. You're here. I make mistakes all the time. I look at my trial videos, and I just keep doing it. My dogs are fine. They will, I know I can get better and better. That's why we do it. Next question.
If you inadvertently come too close to your dog, how do you get yourself out of the area without backing up?
Oh, just stand there and keep orienting, pivoting to your dog. And when your dog pulls you in a particular direction or turns and passes you, you take a step and go. If you think about it and you're like, you're in this area and you're like, crap, I feel like I should back up, but I'm not. Just shut your eyes, have enough tension on the leash that you can feel where your dog is. Don't really shut your eyes. And then feel like at some point he'll pull you off your line and you go to follow him. You're following your dog. That's all you have to do. And the more you do it, the dog will empowered. Sorry, go ahead.
If you're too close, like up your dog's butt, do you risk pushing your dog forward and maybe pushing your dog past a hide?
Yes, it's not that you're too close and up your dog's butt. But it is if you happen to be that close that you're getting anal smell on your jeans. If your dog stops suddenly, you have very little time to respond. And so it's a little harder. But if you're a really fast responder and you can do it, you could probably handle at your dog's butt, but I think that's too close. You may be right on your dog's butt if you just find yourself there in a corner because he turns suddenly and now you don't want to back up, and that's fine. There are times where you could be that close. And this is the kind of thing that if you think about it intellectually and you're trying to imagine it, you're like, I cannot imagine being that close without backing up. And what I'll tell you is if you watch other dogs. Maybe they'll have a video, I don't know. And you start doing it, you'll be like, oh, I get it. This was so much, it makes so much more sense doing it. So don't get too caught up in the intellect.
But if you're working closely to your dog,
Yeah.
can you push your dog out of a hide?
Yes, if not that you're working closely, but that you're not responding if your dog stops or turns. It's the
Very good.
missing the stop and the turn that will push your dog off a hide.
All right,
Although
keep going.
yeah, being really, really close is also a little pushy. But if you're always that close, it's not as pushy. Better shown with video than to answer intellectually. What affects our dog's speed? Our stride length, our upper body, again, awareness of forward impulsion or drag, our dog's weight and fitness. And I know that no one wants to hear it, but I'm telling you, if you don't occasionally think your dog is too thin, your dog is probably overweight. And it requires feeling, but it's a huge problem for dogs, and it really affects their energy level and their speed. So leash tautness and connection, and Wendy talked about this and how it's a feedback loop, right? You get more drive with a little bit of tension. Now, what she was doing was for very drivey dogs, so she had a lot more tension, but all you need is a straight line, and I'll get to that. And I'm hoping Carolyn will get to that. And what affects our dog's speed? Mostly it's their emotional capabilities and their physical soundness and capabilities. Dogs who are nervous or who feel unsafe often need us to be a tad closer than we would with a bold dog, and to especially make sure there's some tautness so the line is straight. If you go to the Dog Driven Search Facebook book club page, there's a video on there that I posted. It's free. Dorothy mentioned it too, about a clip exercise just to keep the clip off. That's the amount of tension that you need. Okay, how to help the slower dog feel more free. Autonomy is the key. And autonomy isn't just something that you say, oh, he's a dog-led search, he pulled me around. Autonomy and giving your dog choice is all about us learning what our orientation and our movements are doing, which is the whole purpose of this webinar. Keep a taut but not tight leash so your dog feels your connection. Match your dog's movements exactly. If your dog stops, then you stop. And then don't move until your dog takes the first steps with his front legs. Then you take a step to follow, no matter how close you are or where your dog's heading. Moving is reinforcing. You heard this from Dorothy. I couldn't have said it better. You move when your dog moves. You stop when your dog stops. You cannot speed up a slow dog by pulling the dog. Lack of clarity from you in terms of who is leading and who is following can cause a polite dog to acquiesce and give up independence. And I looked up the spelling of acquiesce. It looks wrong, but it's right. However your dog wants to search, whatever makes sense to your dog in any given search environment is the perfect way to search. I think we should be careful when we think that he should be patterning or getting into corners, or like, oh, well, you should find a threshold hide first because it's visually for us, it's first. And the thing is, threshold hides really, I'm sorry, only matter for bomb dogs. And then I see that they matter. But otherwise, we have no proof that if your dog finds a threshold hide first, he's faster than a dog who finds it last. It matters in NW1 and NW2 when you know how many hides there are. But once you get into the unknowns, it is honestly, show me the proof, show me the data that says that finding a threshold hide first is faster. I know it's not what you wanted to hear, but you're hearing it. I think this is the sport we give our dogs, and we should be in awe of how they search. And I think that should be primary. I have one final video. I'm just gonna let it play. It's a video on choosing joy over everything else. I know we think, oh, the human component is we're in charge of the search area and we're in charge of the time limit. And that's fine, but there's no proof that says that with our control, we can make them more efficient or we can make them that are covering the search area for them is more efficient or faster. And every time we do cover the search area and make them do it, we're giving them, they're losing out on the opportunity to do it themselves. And in 9 out of 10 cases, 9 times out of 10, it's a made up number, but I believe it's pretty true. I think dogs will cover their own search area, and very, very little do we have to think about the search area. And once you start thinking about the search area, you've stopped focusing on your dog, and they know it, right? So anyway, I'm going to play this. And that's Kathy and Nate. I loved that start. I'm sure half of you think he should be slowed down. I love that.
Ya nos motoras! Mama дорогая!
This is Anne and her dog Twig. He's new. This was his MW1. Holy moly, he's barely even looking at the containers. In fact, he's sort of not. This is one of my all-time favorite searches. It's Jim and Maya in an elite. And she's just, she gave 100% every search, but she's just a wild woman here, galloping, and it's a really large area. So he starts on leash, and she's just hurling herself through, except she zeroes in on a hide really quickly, and it's a really difficult, like, pulling, trapping thing. I cut it and made it short, but she finds that hide. It was very quickly. So then the question is, should he let Maya go off leash? So I want to point out that Maya moves fast through areas that have no source. And then once she passes her near source, and she stops and details and finds the hides. Even difficult hides that are all pulley trappy and require a lot of intense, slow concentration. And so as she's careening around the search area, she's not like she's passing all the hides over and over again. And also, I just want to point out that when we say things like they're passing hides or cataloging, the only person who can ever say that is somebody who knows where the hides are. If we were all just watching the dogs and we don't know where the hides are, we would be like, oh my God, the dog is amazing. And so you could never know, like, would Maya have gotten all this faster if she was on leash or more controlled, if he had slowed her down? You can't know that in nose work. Here she finds the high hide, which is in the upper right. And not only does she find it fast and easily, he calls it so beautifully. She finds all the hides. She had an undeniably grand time doing it. My point is choose joy. We can never know if our dog would have found something faster or more efficiently if we chose a different option, because in nose work, there's no going back. Jim and Holly lost Maya very recently to a horrible cancer shortly after this trial. And I just want to say that they always chose joy. And in the end, I know that's corny, but in the end, that's all you have. That's all you know. And you don't know if Maya could have done it better if you'd slowed her down or held her at the start or controlled her on leash. The only thing you can know is that you gave her like the best time possible and that we're always working on trying to be a better handler.